Shohei Ohtani is a great leadoff hitter. Gavin Stone is an NL All-Star. Let's get into it. Let's get locked on Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, Dodger fans. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one local sports daily podcast network. Locked On, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. This is a daily podcast covering the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing you the smart fan perspective on our boys in blue. You can find us wherever you find podcasts and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. And if you want to become an everydayer, all you have to do is listen or watch every day, which can be made easier by subscribing and be notified when our episodes are good to go or when we're going live on YouTube like we are here on Wednesday night. If this is your first time listening or watching, welcome. My name is Vince Samperio, joined by my co-host Jeff Snyder. Jeff and I are both lifelong Dodger fans that have covered the team for about a decade now in a few different capacities, writing about the team, talking about the team, podcasting about the team, which is where we've done most of that together over the last 5+ years. We're here to bring you what we believe is a smart fan's perspective on our boys in blue, hopefully making you a better Dodger fan while we make ourselves better Dodger fans in the process. And we're here to talk about positive things. The Dodgers swept the White Sox. If you're one of those that say, well, it's just the White Sox, well, then, that's your feelings. But there was positive things, and Gavin Stone is a big talking point. We're going to talk about him in the second segment, but he led off the game with the home run. He's leading off this Locked On Dodgers episode because Shohei Ohtani has continued to rake in that leadoff position and is now notched an RBI in 10 straight games, which is a Los Angeles Dodgers.
All Dodgers
franchise record. So, Jeff, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Yeah, yesterday's game, he set the LA Dodger record and tied the franchise record with 9 straight games, did 10 in a row now. And the last 2 have come on leadoff home runs, get it out of the way early in the game. Tonight's home run was a little bit more impressive than the one on Tuesday night. Tuesday's was a wall scraper, actually hit Tommy Pham's glove. This one, there was no doubt about it. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, like Otani it looks like he's in complete control when he's in the batter's box right now. During the times this year that he struggled a little bit, there's been, questionable swings, questionable takes, a lot of different things. But right now you look at him and it just looks like whatever happens, it's going to be because he wants it to happen. And obviously that's not the case. Even he got out once tonight, but he also homered and walked twice. And he is perfectly content to take his walks. Like today, he took a walk and then Freddie Freeman ended up driving him in with a double. He knows that if he can get on base most of the time, the guys behind him are going to get things taken care of. And so he's playing very unselfish baseball, just willing to pass the baton. And also when he does get a pitch to drive, he's not missing them very often.
He's not missing anything that's hanging right now because a lot of the monstrous home runs he's had over this hot stretch has been on breaking balls that probably weren't that great. And he's been sitting back on them. I don't know if it was, we talked about how he was probably starting to come back before even Mookie got hurt of, he was hitting the ball hard. And you talked about how the angles of how he was hitting them was changing from ground balls to more line drives to everything else. So this might have been something that was already in the process, but I don't know. It not to project on Shohei Ohtani, but maybe the shift to being a leadoff hitter changed his mentality, his mindset at the plate a little bit, and whatever it's doing, he should continue to do that.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. Like, Shohei's batted leadoff plenty of times in his career. He's batted other spots plenty of times. I do think this is just Shohei being a great hitter. And I don't necessarily think that going back to batting second would be an issue for him. I am interested to see. At this point, I have no idea because it does seem like the Dodgers have, like Dave Roberts has started to like the idea that I had talked about of splitting up Ohtani and Freeman. Even in this game with a right-hander on the mound, they still put Teoscar between the two of them. And, that might be easier if it's Mookie splitting them up, because then you still keep your three best hitters as the top three hitters in the lineup, but you go Shohei, Mookie, Freddie. That alone might be a reason to do it. I wonder sometimes if it's overblown. We know that Mookie prefers batting leadoff, but I think the thing Mookie prefers most is winning. And so I can't imagine him actually having a problem with batting second, especially because with Ohtani on base in front of him, he's going to get more pitches to hit, more fastballs, a lot of stuff like that. So I assume Mookie will be fine with whatever they want to do. I'm just kind of interested to see when he comes back what they do decide they want to do.
Yeah, I did see the stat. I think it was in game 2 of this series that Otani had like a 955 OPS out of the leadoff spot in his career. That's definitely gone up with the last 2 games. So we'll see. It's still a long time till Mookie gets back and they have to make that decision. And, realistically, Otani is probably not going to be this hot for an entire 2-month period. But, he's on pace to have his best offensive season in his career, which there are, a lot of different factors. One, maybe, being in a better lineup. Two, only focusing on hitting and just the recovery instead of pitching. But whatever the case is, a couple weeks ago, people were or Bob Nightingale started this, that he was the one that kind of said, "Oh, Marcell Ozuna, NL DH All-Star, NL MVP, blah blah blah," and then Shohei Ohtani said, "All right, everything you had Ozuna leading, and he's about to catch him in RBI, I'll just surpass him." And I don't think Ozuna has even homered since Nightingale had that tweet. So, yeah, it's been a hot streak, and realistically, like I said, it's not going to last forever. But Shohei Ohtani is a good hitter, and now we've seen him overcome tough streaks with hot streaks, and that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, no offense to Marcell Ozuna, except the offense that he deserves for being a piece of human garbage. But as a baseball player, he's having a good season. He's not half the player that Shohei Ohtani is. And the things Ohtani does, Ozuna is a very good hitter. Ohtani is a very good hitter and also a great base runner and also a great teammate and also, when he's not injured, a great pitcher, and if at some point he's done pitching for his career, he's going to be a great outfielder. Like Shohei Ohtani is the greatest athlete in the world, and right now the best baseball player in the world. And it's fun having him on the Dodgers.
Yeah. The rest of the offense, the Miguel Rojas streak continues. He had a couple hits, and the Dodgers won. And he's obviously what we knew that he would probably take a hit in his overall numbers once he became more of an everyday player, but he's caught himself back up. He had struggled a little bit. He's had a good couple last few games for the Dodgers. And I think at this point, it's not where you're comfortable. And I mean, he made some great defensive plays. It's not where, you're 100% comfortable with Miguel Rojas being the everyday shortstop, heading into an October postseason. But if they, it just helps their search at the deadline for that one bat rather than a shortstop specifically, because the way it's going, like if they get one bat and it's an outfielder, Miguel Rojas, kind of stays what he's been doing. Mookie Betts comes back and Gavin Lux stays what he's doing. Then, you can see an easy swap where Rojas stays at short, Mookie plays second, and whoever they get in the outfield plays outfield. So I think him being productive and continuing to be productive is really going to help out the Dodgers when it comes down to what they're looking for, and not that they would make a desperate ploy or play on anyone, but a little bit less desperate.
Absolutely.
All right. Gavin Stone was the star of the game, complete game shutout. Gavin Stone is an NL All-Star right now. I think I don't even know if there's an argument against it right now, but we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about Gavin Stone and his great start, and if the Dodgers should have left him in for that last couple innings. So make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. The Dodgers are in San Francisco this weekend. That's a rival city. San Francisco, the stadium is really great. I know the city itself is in different mode right now, but with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. I am one that likes to travel, not just, I get to travel for work, but I also like to travel and watch the Dodgers play when they're in different cities. And Booking.com can help you out with that because they are there for you with hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Make sure to check out FanDuel and get your bets on because just because there's different seasons that are over, baseball season's still going on, there's still women's basketball going on, there's still different things going on. And if you love sports and never want them to stop, that's what FanDuel is here for, because they let you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up any bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. If you want to ride the Shohei Ohtani train, you're going to have to wait a day because the Dodgers are off. But on Friday, if you think he's going to get another RBI, go check out what the odds are for Shohei Ohtani to get an RBI and, put some down on that with FanDuel. And if they have a boost or a bonus that can help out and that's eligible, you can put that up right there and it'll help you out. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. And thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Make sure to find us where we get podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure to be coming every day or by listening or watching every day. And remember, you can go beyond the podcast, become a Locked On Dodgers insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can also find Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 224/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network on YouTube, running all day, all night, bringing the biggest stories in the sports world and the LA sports world. That's also where you can find the Locked On Dodgers postcast with host Pete Fox after most Dodger games on Locked On Sports Los Angeles, and you can find him in our audio feed. All right, Jeff. Gavin Stone, you've jumped on the trains for two Gavins on the Dodgers. One going in the right direction. We won't talk about the other one right now, but I'm gonna concede some time to you for this.
Yeah, Gavin Stone last year was rough for him. I made the drive down from Utah for Gavin Stone's major league debut last year because I was that confident that he is going to be a stud in the big leagues. And his first few starts definitely did not show that. He got lit up by the Phillies in his major league debut. Dodgers ended up winning the game on a walk-off grand slam by Max Muncy. So it was still a fun game to go to, but Gavin Stone really struggled last year, but he started to figure things out at the end of the year. And I said at the beginning of spring training this year, we were doing a mailbag episode and people asked us who were the people to watch in spring training. And I said, Gavin Stone, absolutely. And he started proving us right immediately. He had a great spring and it's just kind of carried over. He has been outstanding, especially the last couple months. He's fourth in the National League in ERA right now. He is right up there with Shota Imanaga and Yoshinobu Yamamoto in Rookie of the Year talk. And with Yamamoto hurt, Stone is going to pass him up in Rookie of the Year talk. Imanaga, gave up 11 runs in 3 innings or something the other day. So, another couple of those and he'll drop out of that conversation. But even with them in the conversation, like Stone has a better ERA than him. Stone is legitimately an all-star, like you said, going into the break. He is a Rookie of the Year contender, and he's a dark horse Cy Young Award contender. The way he pitched in this game, and that's the thing. This wasn't an out of the ordinary great game, and I know it's the White Sox, but they are a major league team. They do have a couple of hitters who contenders are trying to trade for right now, and to shut them out for 9 innings on 4 hits, just remarkable, outstanding. And he's done it against good teams too. He is everything we could have hoped Gavin Stone would be when he debuted last year. We hoped we get it last year. We're definitely getting it so far this year.
Yeah, and it's been needed and necessary for the Dodgers in a few different ways. Obviously, in the fact of him being good and giving them innings, but also in the fact of we don't know about Yamamoto right now. They had positive thoughts about it, but as we've seen in the past, sometimes it doesn't always go the Dodgers' way in terms of injuries. But Walker Buehler hasn't really been the guy, and he still could come back. But as of now, to what we've seen from Walker Buehler, not somebody you really want to see going into an October series. From what we've seen from Bobby Miller, not somebody you want to see going into October series right now. Clayton Kershaw, as much as we love him, we don't know exactly what to expect from him. And going into an October series, I don't know how many fans still want to see that again, especially if it's an early game in the series. But if Gavin Stone can kind of step up and become that guy that gives you at least some confidence going into an early game in the series, whether it's game 1, game 2, game 3 would be ideal. That means Yamamoto comes back and the Dodgers have, guys ready to go. But it's been great to see and great to watch. And for a guy like him who, did struggle last year and maybe some people had written him off or weren't entirely sure what we were going to get out of Gavin Stone. This is, more than what you could ask for in the sense of him, being an all-star, being an all-star contender, being rookie of the year, maybe favorite. Paul Skeens is going to get the headlines for the rookies, but, Gavin Stone's already been here longer than him and he's pitched, better than him to a certain extent. So there's different things to be excited about with Gavin Stone. And, you're always going to take stuff with a grain of salt, but from what we've seen and the fact that he's not dominating via the strikeout, like he's dominating being a good pitcher and he's had a lot of efficient outings so far this season, it's something that you like to see.
Yeah. I've already in my mind penciled in Paul Skeens' Tommy John surgery, which is why I didn't mention him in the rookie of the year. So, if he makes it through the year, then obviously he's the front runner. Kenny has a good point here that Gavin Stone added 2 pitches to his repertoire. And Oral Hershiser talked about that on the broadcast tonight, that Stone was a fastball changeup guy, but a 2-seam fastball and a changeup both kind of move the same direction. And so adding the slider and the cutter, both were huge for Gavin Stone, that he now has 4 pitches and 2 go in each direction, which means it's really hard for a hitter to sit on any, not just any pitch, but even any direction, any velocity. He's got 4 different velocities there, 2 different, directions, really 4 different movement patterns. It's really hard to hit a guy who can command that many pitches. And that slider last year was what really started to make the difference for him. Having that 3rd pitch, now having a 4th, it's just pretty awesome. And I think we gotta talk about, Elisheva asked the question here about Dave Roberts leaving Gavin Stone in for the complete game. I saw some comments in the chat earlier, people thinking it was risky, injury risk. My opinion, through 103 pitches, if he had thrown 103 pitches in 6 innings, nobody would be batting an eye. And he threw it in 9 innings. And yes, there's warm-up pitches, but really there is a lot to say. The main thing we know is that nobody really has any idea. There's no magic pitch count. We've kind of gotten that 100 pitch thing in our minds. And I'm generally a proponent of that. No reason to have guys throw too many pitches most of the time, but 103 pitches really isn't that many, especially the low stress. That's the thing that everybody seems to agree on. When you've got, he only had 4 base runners the whole game. It's not like he was pitching out of the stretch and pitching under pressure a lot. It was mostly, he had a lot of quick outs. He had, he did have his share of strikeouts, but not a ton of strikeouts, just kind of getting quick outs, getting weak contact. And it's the kind of game where, for me, it absolutely made sense, especially with the Dodgers having to use 6 relievers yesterday. It does a total reset on the bullpen, having the day off tomorrow and not having to use any relievers today. That means they go into San Francisco with a totally fresh bullpen. And it was just a perfect storm, everything aligning with Stone's efficiency, the low stress, and everything. I thought it was absolutely a great call to leave him in the game.
Yeah. And, people will look at Yamamoto and him throwing the extra pitches in New York and then following the injury there. But that's not, that's not something that happens every single time. Like, yes, the Dodgers are careful with their pitchers, and yes, the 100 pitch mark is usually kind of where most teams kind of sit in terms of a limit. But the Dodgers give their starting pitchers extra rest throughout the whole season. Like only Glasnow and Paxton, I think, are the only pitchers that have gone on 4 days rest this season. Everyone else has gone at least 5 or 6 days or more in between every start. And this is one of the reasons why you do that, in order to, maximize their outings when they are out there. And I do think that this is, one of the things, the benefits of having that extra break, where, could the Dodgers have took them out after the 8th, still been fine and won the game? Yeah, realistically, yes. But it's one of those things where you do want to see what happens, or give your guy, that extra boost. And not that Stone's lacking confidence, but I do think it just shows like, hey, you know what? You're a guy. We have Thursday off. We have Monday off. We have a full rotation right now. Like, you're not going to pitch for probably a week. Go ahead and finish this game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big point, that having 2 days off before his next start, because, he is, they are in a 5-man rotation right now, which means that his next start won't be until Wednesday against the Diamondbacks. So literally a full week. And 103 pitches isn't that many. And the thing is, it's not like they said, we're letting Stone get this complete game no matter what. If Stone had allowed one more base runner, Alex Vesia would have been in the game. There was a limit there. It just wasn't a hard 100-pitch limit, and I loved it. And going back out for the 8th inning, and he got out of that in like 6 or 7 pitches in the 8th inning. It's like, absolutely let him come back for the 9th inning. He earned that complete game, and it doesn't really mean anything. And I wouldn't have been in favor of letting him throw 120 pitches for it, but 103, and knowing that they weren't so married to it that they were going to let him throw 110, 115, 120. I thought it was absolutely awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. Randy Arozarena, we talked about him yesterday. Jeff Passan thinks the Dodgers would be a good fit for him. Shohei Ohtani, would he perform or would he play in the home run derby? We have an answer there, kind of. And the Dodgers, since losing Mookie Betts, went on a little stretch and played relatively well. So we're going to talk about that. So make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. I want to thank you. Oh, no. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. MLB games during the summer are fun. There's, plenty of games. If Game Time had been around back, or maybe it was, I don't know, but if Game Time had been around back 10 years ago, that probably would have been where I bought my ticket, and I would have saw Clayton Kershaw's no-hitter. And, luckily I was still able to catch that without Game Time. But if Game Time is here for you to make your summer memories, to make those core memories moving forward in your life, because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which means you get tickets faster and easier, and prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So go check out the Game Time app. Check out time. Dodgers have some bobbleheads coming up. Bobby Miller bobblehead on July 3rd. You got Jason Hayward City Connect bobblehead on July 6th. There's some big games coming up. There's also some good teams coming up as well in the future. So go check out the Game Time app, see what game you want to go to, and see what they got. They got last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. You can view all. If you've never been to Dodger Stadium, or you're going to try a different section, you can check out the views from all the seats at Dodger Stadium. So go check it out right now. And take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. If you are not an everydayer, please become one by listening or watching every day. You can make it easier on yourself by subscribing and get notified when episodes are ready or when we're going live. And remember, you can go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers, where you can get text updates from us when there's breaking news or rumors or anything involving the Dodgers. Really, if you're someone that maybe doesn't use Twitter anymore or have a job during the day or all that type of stuff, we're here for you to deliver that. And you can also ask us any questions if you have. So all that being said, Jeff, we got a few topics here in this final one. We'll go real quick. Randy Arozarena was mentioned yesterday. I believe Kenny's the one that mentioned him as a target. Jeff Passan earlier in that day had him as one of the targets the Dodgers. Not a rumor or anything, just his thoughts of who the Dodgers could get or who makes sense for the Dodgers. And he was one of those guys. And we talked about Randy Arozarena before the season, and we were all in and definitely wanted him to come to LA and be that guy. The Dodgers got Teoscar Hernandez, and it's worked out well so far, but they could still use another outfielder and another bat but Randy Arozarena hasn't had the greatest season so far this season. He's been good over the last week, but not good over the last 3 months. So, Jeff, has your mind changed at all on Randy Arozarena?
Yeah, Arozarena is a hard one to figure out because it is the first time in his career that he's not been a good hitter. Like every year of his career, he has been a very good hitter. And it's not a super long career, but partial seasons with the Cardinals, or one with the Cardinals, one with the Rays, and then 3 full seasons of being really, really good. And now this year he's been bad. And so he's 29 years old. And some guys, that is past your peak. And so I guess it's possible that he is on the downside of his career. But he was, if you look at, like you said, he's been better lately. So if you look at the last 2 months, from the beginning of May-ish until now, he's got 794 OPS. Not quite Randy Arozarena level, but much better than his overall 652 OPS. Batting 230, 360 on base percentage. So he's getting his walks. He's striking out a lot this year. There's definitely things that concern me about Arozarena, but one thing we know about Arozarena is he loves the spotlight. He loves the big moments. And if there was a guy I would bet money on stepping things up when he came to the Dodgers, it would be Arozarena.
It's interesting when you look at the numbers and you look at, some of the deeper numbers and try to find out like what exactly is the problem. And it's really hard to kind of find, or I'm not as smart as some other people in terms of trying to figure it out. Because you look at exit velocity, it's down from last year, but it's higher than every other year in his career minus 2019. So, he's still hitting the ball relatively hard for him. His walk rate is down from last year, but higher than it's been in his entire career. His strikeout rate is where the jump has been compared to the last 2 years. But then when you go to 2020 and 2021, he struck out even more back then. So it's different things. The expected batting average isn't quite there. So it's, I don't know exactly what it is, but again, the Rays aren't good. He might be a guy that's just like, if my team isn't good, then, maybe I'm not good. And, not the other way around, where if I'm not good, my team isn't good. The Rays have not had their season that they wanted. And, maybe Randy's going down with that.
Yeah. And then there's a part of me, like, I love Randy Arozarena. And so there's like, I want him on the Dodgers. There's another part of me that's like, okay, well, he's not a good defensive left fielder. Dodgers already have a guy who's not a good defensive left fielder. And he's this year a much better hitter than Arozarena. That's Miguel Vargas. I don't know if they are equally not good defensive left fielders. There's different degrees of bad defense. And Arozarena definitely has a longer track record of being a good hitter. But if you think Miguel Vargas is for real, do you really trade for a guy who is hitting worse than him to replace him when he's not even a defensive upgrade? So the star power thing, I've gone back and forth so many times on Arozarena. If the Rays are looking for a trade package that they would get for the star version of Arozarena, I think the Dodgers are out. But if it's a buy low situation where it's just, the Rays are like, well, because he's under contract for 2 more seasons. And 2 more seasons after this year. So 2.5 years of control. I don't know. It may not end up lining up because the Rays might still want that star package for him. Obviously not a Juan Soto level package, but a star package. And if somebody's going to give them the star package for Arozarena, I think it's probably not Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes.
Yeah. The good thing is that the Dodgers and Rays have had a lot of moves with each other the last few years. The Rays will be looking for different things that maybe the Dodgers are willing to give up. So we'll just have to wait and see. But let's get on with a couple more things before Shohei Ohtani. They asked him about the home run derby. He pretty much said that he'd like to do it, but he's not sure if the team will sign off on it. And the recovery from the continued recovery from Tommy John surgery and everything else. But as MLB, as a baseball fan, as everything else, and as someone that doesn't necessarily believe in the home run derby making you worse, I do think that I would like, not that I do think, I think that I'd like, not I think, I would like to see Shohei Ohtani in the home run derby.
Entertainment value wise, absolutely. And I don't worry about guys going into slumps. I don't believe in the home run derby curse. People blamed Jock Peterson's slump in 2015 on the home run derby. His slump started 3 weeks before the home run derby, so that's really powerful home run derby slump. You have other guys. Corey Seager played much better after the home run derby. It doesn't have any effect on performance. My concern would be just Otani's health with his arm still rehabbing, all of that, the workload that's involved with being in the home run derby. That's where I wouldn't, and the fact that he had an oblique injury last year, right? So I do not want Shohei Ohtani getting an oblique injury. I want him to save his hard swings for games that matter for the Dodgers.
Yeah, and that's really where it makes more sense, and not worried about the slump or anything like that. It's more worried about the injury, and realistically, the injury would come in probably the oblique area. Like, that's really the only way you can legitimately hurt yourself in a home run derby, that you're doing something a little bit different than you normally do. And Otani's a guy that doesn't take batting practice on the field before games. He's usually in the cage, and I'm sure he's taking a lot of cuts there, but it's just a little bit different beast. And yeah, like I said, as a baseball fan, I want to see it, but as a Dodger fan, if he says no, I'm not going to be upset about it.
What year was it that Ohtani was in the home run derby?
Whenever it was in Colorado, so 2021.
Okay. I just saw the comment in the chat that it messed up Otani's swing for the rest of the season when the last time he did the home run derby. So I'm just looking because that is a thing that's commonly said about everybody who ever does the home run derby. So I'm looking to see what Ohtani. So he was worse after that. He had 839 OPS the rest of the season after the home run derby that year, 13 home runs in 71 games. Whether that was because of the home run derby or not, it's tough to say. Looking at the stats, it looks like the first couple weeks he was pretty much the same guy, and then it wasn't until a few weeks after, because the first 2 weeks after the home run derby, he had a 982 OPS, 4 home runs in 14 games, and then it was after that. So it's hard to say if it was the home run derby, but yeah, either way, just for the sake of the Dodgers and health, I'm not interested in Ohtani being the derby this year.
Yeah, it's always funny, the thought of, if a guy gets in a 2-week slump, nobody's saying, oh man, his swing is ruined. If a guy participates in a home run derby, which is what they do before games sometimes anyways, his swing is ruined. So, like, yeah, sometimes guys have hot first starts and then they don't, and then they get in the second half of the season and they're not as good and they might just be tired. Like, you're playing 162 games, and that's a different type of mentality. You're playing in sometimes stadiums that are 90 plus degrees with sometimes humidity. Like, there's just different factors in it. If a 2-week slump isn't going to mess up your swing for the rest of the season, I don't think one exhibition home run derby is. But like I said, I'm fine with Otani not being in it this year.
Yeah, and I'm open to the argument that I just put on the screen that maybe he shouldn't even play in the All-Star game. Just only play games that matter, Shohei. Right now, with I just want him healthy in October. We've never gotten to see him play in October, and that would be awful if he missed October the first time he played on a good team because of an injury, especially if it happened in a meaningless game.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about the Dodgers being good since Mookie went down, but we all know that. We've talked about it every day since.
7-2 in this 9-game stretch. They played 9 games against bad teams, and we said they really need to dominate this. 7-2. Obviously, we would have loved 9-0, but 7-2 is pretty darn good in this stretch. What you would hope for.
Yeah. So got the Giants this weekend, off day tomorrow. Probably take some questions from you guys for tomorrow's episode. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Make sure to find us where we get podcasts and on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, get notified when episodes are ready or when we go live And remember, you can go beyond the podcast, become a Locked On Dodgers insider at joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can also check out Locked On Sports Today or Locked On Sports Los Angeles, 24/7 streaming channels from the Locked On Podcast Network on YouTube, bringing you the biggest stories and from the sports world and the LA sports world. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Jeff is on Twitter at SnyDog. I'm at Vincent91. You can DM us for any questions or comments. You can also send us an email, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail, send us a text at 323-863-5625. We're here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us when you get in your car or if you're at home. Tear Smart Device Play Podcast, Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. Have a good one.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.